Hi everyone! This week I have a pretty and dainty looking card, and this is made using primarily the Sorbet Artful card kit and a couple cute stamps including the teacup and the peacock feather. And on the inside, just very simple and sweet. This card could be made for any occasion you wish, and it's not too hard to make. And I do want to point out the vellum treatment here. So this background is in vellum, and if you'll notice, the teacup is a mirror image of this. And to do that with a stamp, you have to use some sort of transparent surface, and here I've used vellum. So stay tuned to learn how I do that trick, and I'll show you some of the materials I used, and we'll get started. In my card, I'm using primarily the Sorbet Artful card kit, which I have right here, and just showing you a little preview. Here on the back you'll see all the different patterns of paper, and I go through this in more detail at the end when I show you the bundle. There are some vellum sheets and some stamps. We've got the peacock feather and the teacup, and of course the ribbons, which are made to match the Sorbet Artful card kit. So with that, let's get started on the card. I'm going to be using this die cut, and if I can move it in the light, you can see where the connecting pieces are. And what I like to do is just slice through them before I pop out the piece, and just with my knife, just making a little cut at each little connecting piece. And that way, when it's all cut and I pop out the piece, all my edges will be smooth. Now, you could also follow this advice. To remove the nibs, cut them off, use sandpaper, or press them with your fingernails. So those all work. This is just an additional tip in case you want to pre-cut them before you pop it out. So I've popped this piece out, and all the edges are nice and smooth, and I've also popped this guy out. And I'm going to set that aside, and now I'm going to come in with my sheet of vellum. So what I'm going to do here is place this on the vellum, take a pencil, and just trace around the shape. Alright, now that I've got that traced, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. It's easier if I just kind of block it out first. When I cut it out, I'm going to cut just inside this line because I'm going to create kind of a foggy window type embellishment here. So I want to cut just inside this line so that when I glue it to the back here and flip it over, none of the edges will show. Now that I've cut this piece out, I'm going to flip this over and just place some glue stick on the back of this. And it's good enough. I'm going to glue this right on here. Pretty good. So when we flip this over, we've got a nice little foggy little window there. Alright, I'm going to set this aside for now, and I'm going to work with the teacup stamp. So I've got the stamp already on my acrylic block here. What I'm going to do is use blackberry fluid chalk ink, and I also have the pink dot paper and the yellow kind of medallion pattern paper. So I'm going to stamp the teacup both on the pink dot and the yellow, and I'll show you why in a second. Okay, that's one. Ink it up again. And that's the other. Alright, now that I've got both my teacups stamped, I'm going to cut out the whole teacup here on the pink, but on the yellow I'm just going to cut out the flower and glue that right on top of here so I get a yellow flower on that image. So you can see here I've cut out both of my teacups. Here's the flower, and I also cut out the center of the flower so I can toss this guy. But I cut out the center so that the pink center would show through on the pink teacup, which is the one we're going to use. So I'm just gonna put some glue stick on this flower. And let's see which way it's going here. That way. Match it up. And glue it down. So now we have a pink teacup with a yellow flower. So I've got my frosted kind of frame here, my teacup, and I'm going to do a little trick with the frame. I want two teacups on the front. One's going to be kind of in the bottom left here, and one's going to be in the upper right, but I want the upper right one to be kind of a shadow, but I want it to be opposite of this one. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to flip this over. So the image is going to show up right here. So when I flip it over, I'm going to make sure to stamp it right here. So I've got the same stamp here. I'm going to ink it up. So yes, you can stamp on vellum with the fluid chalk ink pads. Just make sure to let it dry completely before you touch it. And you can help that along by using an embossing heat gun. So I'm going to kind of line up the handle right in that little scallop rounded part there. First I'm going to make sure this is straight on my grid. It's nice to have that 1/4 inch marks on here. So I'm just going to stamp down. And there we go. Now when we turn this around, voila! You've got kind of a shaded image, and the pink teacup's going to overlap it right there. So I've covered my card base with this yellow paper, and it's the one with the corner design on it, so I kind of just cut it right out of that top part. And my card is 6.5 inches by 5 inches, just in case you're wondering. Those are pretty much the dimensions of each of my cards. So I'm going to start to piece together this card. Now I've also cut this 1-inch strip of the green floral paper here, and that's going to get glued along the top. I've also punched out this pretty purple scallop border, and that's going to get glued right below the green, right about there. Now I've cut both of these to size. This one's glued down, and this one is not glued down yet because I want to add some ribbon, and I'm going to thread it through this hole right here. And you'll see in a second why I've done that. And I've knotted the other end of the ribbon. So when I put this card all together, I want this to kind of go right around there. And I haven't glued anything down yet, so take note of that because some of it's going to be foam taped actually. So I want to give the illusion of this frame kind of hanging from this border. So I've knotted this end. That's going to be glued down right on this corner. Then it's strung through, and then I'm going to knot this end on this side. Alright, so I have my knotted piece of ribbon, and now I'm just going to glue my border down as best as I can with that ribbon. So I've got my border glued down with the ribbon still loose, but I measured it so it will fit exactly on my frame here. My frame is upside down right now, and I put some foam tape on it. And you might wonder why I put some here. Well, that's actually going to be hidden by this little teacup, which I've also put foam tape on. So, flipping this over, I'm going to line it up where I want it, right about there. And just pressing down where all my foam tape was. and this piece helps to hold up the center of the vellum because otherwise it might sink or get crushed in the middle. So I've got my pink teacup here. Make sure it covers that foam tape, and it too has foam tape, so the pink teacup is actually going to be 2 foam tape layers tall. So that's going to go right there. And now I can glue down the end knots on my ribbon, and those are just going to get stuck down with some Zots. So here's my roll of Zots. I'm just going to press my knot on the Zot. Didn't mean to rhyme there. And stick it down. And the other one. Right about there. Okay. Now I've punched out this little piece here, and it says love, and it comes right out of this die cut sheet. And I've placed some foam tape on the back, and that's just going to go right above my pink teacup, right about there. Just a tiny little greeting. Now I want to add a little more texture to this side of a card, or a little more pattern I should say. It doesn't really add some texture, but I'm going to use this peacock feather, and I'm going to stamp it up the side, and I'm going to use some pink ink. Now I'm using rose coral, and this is kind of a pinkish orangish color, and it's actually going to turn out just about the same color as this writing in the background. So I'm going to go ahead and ink my stamp. And it helps to have a piece of scrap paper handy so that I don't get anything on my cutting mat. So just gonna go down here and stamp. And it just adds another kind of translucent layer of pattern there. And I'm also going to use this stamp on the inside so it gives it some continuity. Stamp right here. Now it helps to do this before you put the 3D items on your card, but I forgot, so I'm just going to doctor that up. And since it is kind of translucent, you can't really tell if it smudges. So one last one at the top. All in the details. Okay, so now I've got some more design on the left side to balance out the right side, and we are done with the front of the card. So now I'm going to prep the inside of my card, and I've taken this green all over floral print, and this is the leftover from that scallop trim of the front of the card, and I've got a good amount of it, 4 inches, so I'm going to go ahead and use it on the inside, and I'm going to make a corner treatment out of it. So I'm going to set that like there, kind of just eyeball with my ruler where I want to cut it, right about there. So then I hold my ruler, slide this out, and slice. Okay, so now I'm going to take the all over yellow medallion pattern paper, cover the inside of my card with it, then glue on my corner treatment. I'm going to cut this angled so that will fit perfectly in the corner, and I'll be nearly complete. Alright, so once again I'm going to take the peacock feather in the same rose coral ink. Remember to place my scrap paper, and I'm going to do one feather right here. Love the detail in this stamp. One right here. And one right here. There we go. So we have a balanced design here. And it leaves you plenty of room for your personal note. So here we have the front. It says love, and it could be used for many different occasions. Love is just one greeting. And as you can see in the Artful card kit, you're getting all these die cuts, and you're getting the, well, there's 3 sheets of die cuts plus that sheet of cutout greetings. So you could just pick one from here, and they've got a ton of different occasions on here, or you can make your own. So really the possibilities are endless. So that's the front, and then there's the inside. Alrighty, so that is today's card. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for this week's bundle, and I will see you again next week. First off, in today's bundle, we have the Sorbet Artful card kit. And there are 90 pieces in this kit. On the back of the package, you'll see some card making ideas and an image of each of the elements of the kit. But we'll take a look at those right now. So you're going to get 7 of these pretty papers. And the Sorbet kit has a really unique color combination. It combines some pastels of yellow, green, and pink with a really deep plum color, which I think is really pretty. So we've got a nice, here's the plum with some mint green writing on it, and then the pink, the yellow here, and a really pretty Oliver, it's kind of a green and pink mesh here. And the outlines of the flowers are actually done in a deep purple. And then the pink with the yellow dot. And as always in our Artful card kits, we give you a sheet of cutout greetings and blank labels. So you can print or stamp or write your own greetings on those. So very customizable. Then of course we have the 3 sheets of die cuts. And on these 3 sheets are a total of 58 different die cuts. Some of them may be nestled within each other or nested within each other, so this shape, as you can see, will pop out inside of this frame. So there's a lot of variety in these shapes. There are a lot of labels, swirls, frames, and other shapes like hearts and images such as these beautiful flowers here. So that is the Sorbet Artful card kit. And in addition to that, in the bundle we have 4 sheets of perfect white vellum. And these are really add a delicate touch to any of the projects you use them on. And 4 sheets will go a pretty long way. In addition to that, we have the peacock feather stamp, which includes flaunt what you've got in a greeting here, and then a nice little swirl. And then this is stylin', which is cute, and of course the large feather. And then this is the Tea-rific stamp. It says You're Tea-rific, and a cute little teacup. And to go with the Sorbet Artful card kit, we have the ribbon set here, and it has 6 different ribbons, and each of them are 36 inches long. So hopefully you've enjoyed this week's episode, and thanks for watching. I'll see you again next week.